All right, man, talk to talk. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. The king is in the building. You know what it is. Thank y'all for being here with me. Thank y'all for subscribing. Thank everybody. All right, so today's episode, we're going to be talking about Drake's Revenge Tour. Comeback Drake, comeback season. You know what I'm saying? I doubt it, but let's talk about it. So Drake has seemingly, we don't know if this is actually true yet, but he's supposed to be doing the halftime of the World Cup. And people saying, well, this is it. This is his comeback. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get into that. Before we get into that, you know, I got to get my spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscriptions today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones that just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me a hidden gem. I went from 1,300 subscribers over 16,000. And yes, I am the king of the north. Let me know what kingdom you from. You know what it is. We on our road to 25,000. Once I hit 25,000, I will be giving away a nice cash prize. You know what it is. Also, too, if you like battle rap, on this page, there will be a live battle rap event. Yours truly versus J Dev. If you like battle rap, check it out. Make sure you share. All right, so let's get it, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, this comes courtesy of Chink Smooth. Let's get it.
Coming together to try to get Kendrick completely out of the paint. Why do they say that? Because recently, the president of FIFA, who is also the person who controls the World Cup, pretty much confirmed that for the first time ever, they will be having a halftime performer. As some of you may know, recently Maul stated that Drake was actually going to be the performer at the FIFA World Cup halftime show.
Number one person in rap music? He's the number one person in rap music?
Well, Kendrick just put his album out.
Kendrick is the number one person in rap music.
In rap?
He's doing the Super Bowl
right now.
He has the number one album.
Drake is doing the World Cup.
No. That's not the same.
Again, this is exactly what I be talking about with Maul. So what? Drake is doing the World Cup. So what? My problem with Maul is he just don't want to acknowledge that Kendrick is the biggest rapper in the world right now. At that time, he didn't want to acknowledge it. Drake is second or third, but Kendrick is the biggest rapper right now, bro. Gotta acknowledge it. You just gotta acknowledge that.
I think they're right. You know how many people watch the World Cup? How many people watch the World Cup? I think they tallied like 1.6 billion last time.
Yeah, that budget different.
Super Bowl was 123 million versus 1.6 billion viewers. It's just different, is all I'm saying.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. This is what really kind of makes me mad about dudes that do this. Again, it's all about numbers and optics with Drake. It's not about how good his music is. It's not about none of that. So you're saying that because Drake does the World Cup, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I'm telling y'all now, I'm not gonna be wrong. If Drake does do the World Cup, it's not gonna be as big. It's not gonna be like they think it's gonna be. I'm gonna tell you right now. A lot of people either is not going to know the songs or they forgot the songs. And a lot of people in these World Cups, depending on when he does the World Cup at. And on top of that, just because you do the World Cup, right? You saying that the viewership is 1 billion, right? Okay, because the World Cup is the World Cup. The NFL would be bigger than soccer if it was worldwide. Now, we ain't going to get into that. I'm just telling y'all, it would be bigger than soccer if it was worldwide. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how soccer is football, you know what I'm saying? But just different names in America. That's just my opinion. I don't think that him doing the World Cup is going to, but I did see a news clip, and he's probably going to play it on here, where the guy was asked about this whole situation. But yeah, let's keep it going.
It's just, what are we talking? That's what I'm saying. What perception, what lens are we looking at this through? If I'm hosting, the World Cup is in my country.
But the World Cup, it's playing with semantics, right? Because this is the first time that they're having a performer. I don't think it's during the actual final game. It's like part of the world. It's like It's like Fat Joe performing at the
It's
the
nothing
World
like
Series.
Fat Joe.
No, I'm just saying.
It's nothing like that.
As far
Let me promise you something.
Now, at the time that Maul said it, everybody thought it was cap, but now we are now.
Well, it's not that it's cap, and again, I think a lot of y'all are being very disingenuous and misleading about what's being said here. There are several games that's going to be played throughout the whole thing. He's probably going to play at one of them. This is what I'm reading, right? But here's the thing. And I don't have no inside source. I ain't in all that. I'm just telling y'all. Here's the thing. Kendrick might perform at one too. You never know. Because what if they say, we want all the biggest artists to perform at all the halftimes? And they ask Kendrick to do one. They ask Beyonce. They ask The Weeknd. They ask a bunch of people. They could do that because it's several games. It's not just one. Let's keep it going.
Seeing that the FIFA president has come out and said, man, there definitely will be a halftime show. And I know what you guys are saying, like, yeah, just because Maul knew that there was a halftime show doesn't mean that it's actually going to be Drake. Wait, hold on one second. The reason why we thinking it's Drake is then the FIFA president, he goes on to do an interview on Fox 5 News. And when he does the interview, one of the hosts for the Fox 5 News channel makes a joke. And she says, pretty much, in essence, you know what would be really funny? You should give that halftime show to Drake as a way, kind of like a revenge on Kendrick. That's kind of crazy. Revenge is kind of a crazy word. So then the FIFA president responds saying, kind of like a rivalry, huh? And then he makes a chuckle and a laugh about it.
An idea for you for the halftime. I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with this.
Tell me.
Drake. Because you were at the Super Bowl. Kendrick Lamar dissed him at the Super Bowl. You got
so we can create a bit of a rivalry.
Drake comes back for, you know.
That's a good idea. Actually, Drake was with us when we announced the host cities of.
You might be onto something here.
I should have his number still somewhere.
I expect to be sitting right next to you when you sign him on the dotted line. Anyway.
Now, as many of you already know, there's tons of pictures circulating around on the internet of the FIFA president and Drake side by side. At the end of the day, not only...
How do I feel about what she just said? I actually think that that's actually pretty good. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it, because I think that if they can keep this thing going, the two of them rivaling and taking over music to the point where hip hop is at the forefront, in my opinion, Drake is really not hip hop. But if Drake can actually try to come back at Kendrick off of this, to me, it makes Kendrick go to another level. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that Drake is ever going to stop Kendrick. I don't care if he does 10 World Cups. He has a stain that's put on him that he cannot remove. I don't care what he does. He can't remove it. We see that. And I think a lot of people are rooting for Drake because of what Kendrick Lamar did. And another thing too, a lot of people, when she said he should have Drake perform at the Super Bowl, I don't necessarily think that she doesn't like Kendrick, because I think she likes the rivalry between the two. That's just my opinion. I don't know who this lady is. I'm just saying I think she likes the rivalry. And I know it's Fox News, so don't jump in the comments. Oh, it's Fox News. They hate Kendrick. They really do. You don't understand. Don't jump in the comments and say all that, because I know it's Fox News. I'm just saying I don't know who that lady is. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I don't know who she is. She kind of sounds like that one lady. What's her name? Judge Janine. But I don't think that that's her. Anyway, I think this is actually a pretty good thing that he would do this, because this is the rivalry that I want. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, for those in the back, Drake completely lost this battle. To keep it going for us is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing. It's a good thing for us content creators to keep this thing going. So, plus it gives me something to argue. You know what I'm saying? It gives me something to argue. But let's keep it going.
Would this be a good look for FIFA? I guess it would be a great look for Drake, because a lot of people say that FIFA's World Cup is the biggest stage in the world. This is actually where the debate gets kind of tricky. See, the FIFA president might just get Drake to be the performer for the World Cup. Why? Because there's a lot of tension between the Super Bowl and the FIFA World Cup, with the Super Bowl making claims that they are the biggest stage in the world when it comes to a sports championship. And FIFA, of course, feels as though they're entitled to that claim. They've been bigger for longer, and they encompass the entire world. Now, let's get into it. Who is actually bigger? Now, before we even get deep into the revenue, let's just talk about total viewership overall between the two. And I feel like these numbers are going to humble a lot of people. Now, to make it fair, first, we're going to do a couple of comparisons. First, we're going to compare the last 4 Super Bowls to the entire World Cup final, just to make it fair. Why?
Well, this is a false equivalence, and I'm going to tell you why. Before you even start, I'm going to tell you why it's a false equivalence. The reason why it's a false equivalent, and I don't know, maybe the NFL is saying something that they shouldn't be saying, and I agree with you on that. But the reason why it's a false equivalence is because the NFL is only based in America. It's not based around the world. So if the NFL is based in America and the World Cup is literally based around countries competing against each other, 100% the World Cup would be bigger. It would definitely be bigger. I don't understand why we even having this argument. We already know the World Cup would be bigger because it's based around all the countries in the world. This here, the NFL, the National Football League, is based in America. That's it. They might have a game here and there in Europe or somewhere, but it's not based around the world. If the NFL was to go global, they would literally put FIFA out of business if they competed. If the NFL was to go global, 100%. But it's American sport. So let's keep it going. Yeah.
Because the World Cup is every 4 years. So I think it's only fair that we compare the last 4 Super Bowls so that it's a little bit fair as far as amounting to the World Cup. Now, for the last 4 Super Bowls, NFL has had 478.8 million viewers. That's across the last 4 Super Bowls. Now, the World Cup in 2022, for the final match alone, had 1.5 billion people tune in. For the entire World Cup, they had a staggering 5 billion viewers. So it's safe to say, as far as views, there is no comparison. Granted, the World Cup...
Again, it's a false equivalence. You cannot compare the two because the NFL is not worldwide. It's not worldwide. You can't compare the two. You can't. It's not worldwide. I don't understand how you even came up with that comparison. You can compare 100 NFL Super Bowls. It doesn't matter. It's not comparable because one is worldwide and one is based in America. There's only 330 million people in America. So even if everybody in America was to watch the Super Bowl, it still would be less than a World Cup game, especially a final World Cup game, because your country is watching, which other countries are watching. Let's just imagine China, let's say South Korea, right? Let's say South Korea was facing, I don't know, let's say Uganda or something, a country in Africa, right? Just say that would garner more viewers than the NFL Super Bowl because it's a whole country, probably has more than 350 million people, and another whole country who has more than 350 million people who are watching. So it's a false equivalence. You can't compare the two. Like, come on, bro.
In entirety is 64 matches. However, as I said, the last final championship match alone had 1.5 billion people, and that's 3 times the amount of viewers the Super Bowl had in the last 4 years combined. So it's safe to say this is by far much bigger in regards to viewers. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, yeah, but who cares about viewers? We care about money being brought in. However,
no, a lot of us are not thinking that. A lot of us, especially me, I'm thinking is how you could compare the two when one is a worldwide game and the other one is based in America. That's what I'm trying to figure out, why you would do that. But let's keep it going.
Let's be fair, that will be changing the argument. Because what we're talking about here is what's a bigger stage in comparison to Kendrick and Drake performing. Drake is going to be performing in front of a guaranteed 1.5 billion viewers. Kendrick, on the other hand, performed in front of 124 million viewers. So to say that they compare would be an absolute farce. Now, let's just talk about revenue just for the heck of it. So a lot of people know that
you can't say that's a farce either, and I explain why. Okay, even though soccer is the biggest sport in the world, let's be clear here, even though that's the case, influence is something totally different. Totally different. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that the NFL is bigger than soccer. What I am saying is influence is big as well. You know what I'm saying? So if Drake does the Super Bowl, Drake's already big. He does the NFL. He does the World Cup. Okay, he's already big. And I know people are going to say, oh, man, see, Drake is bigger because he did this and he did that. Again, it's about influence. The stain that Drake has on him, that A minor is going to follow him everywhere. Even when he does the World Cup, it's still going to follow him there. So that, to be honest with you, it may even make him look even worse doing the World Cup, because now people could look into this and see not like us and say, damn, they had him doing the World Cup? This guy here? Yeah. So I'm just saying influence is very big too. It's not just about numbers. A lot of y'all so obsessed with numbers. Y'all don't even care about quality no more. It's crazy.
Super Bowl commercials are insanely expensive. They range anywhere from $600,000 to $1.5 million to $7 million to $8 million when it comes to actually just one commercial. So a lot of people may think like, oh, if they're making that much money off commercials, they're probably blowing the World Cup out of the water when it comes to revenue, especially if you're only doing the final match versus the Super Bowl. Incorrect again. The last Super Bowl generated $1 billion, 1 billion plus. So it's safe to say about 1.2 if you really want to get technical. The final match for the last World Cup, just the final match alone, brought in a staggering $2.25 billion just from that last final match. Now,
again, it's another false equivalence. Like, what do y'all be thinking? Okay, all right, another thing. Again, you are comparing the last final match, right? Which means that there were other countries in this whole thing. So obviously, the soccer is going to make more money because it's a global thing. You know what I'm saying? As far as the NFL goes, it's only one Super Bowl. That's it. They don't do other commercials for games. They don't do that. They don't do other commercials for games. They don't. So you can't compare the two. It's like if you say in a final game, which means you was talking about the last one, and on top of that, you're talking about what they generated. You can't compare if you talking about the commercials or whatever, the advertisers. You can't compare that because the other games are not Super Bowl games. Now, if the other games were Super Bowl games like the World Cup would be championship games. It would be Super Bowl playoff games, would have the same type of advertisement, right? But again, we're talking about something that's based in America versus something that's based around the world. And again, a lot of y'all think that America is the world. America is America. There's much more people in other countries. That's just the bottom line. So you're right about that. It's bigger, but you're given a false equivalence. It's like, I don't know. It's like you're arguing for something that you know you know that it's wrong, but you're arguing the point to try to prove to somebody, look, he's bigger. It's bigger. But okay, yeah, we get it because it's a different type of false. It's a false equivalence. You can't argue that because we all know that soccer is bigger already. We already know that already. So why are you even comparing the two? I don't get it.
To be honest with you, those numbers are not exactly exact. The reason why I say that is because FIFA doesn't really share what the final match brought in itself. However, we could do some math and we could come up with those numbers because in total, the entire World Cup tournament made $7.5 billion of revenue. That's across an entire total of 5 billion people watching. Now, if the World Cup final itself had 1.5 billion people, that's about 30% of the 5 billion. So it's safe to say that they probably brought in 30% of the revenue, more than likely even more, based off of the World Cup final. So with that 30% being calculated, that is a staggering $2.25 billion. At the end of the day, Drake performing at the halftime of the World Cup is absolutely a huge W, and it's honestly going to be one of the greatest musical things that's ever happened in the history of music, because this is, as we said, the first time ever an artist will be performing at the halftime of the biggest stage in history. And with all that wrapped up, I'm sorry for all the math, but we had to break it down. Thank you for tuning in.
I got a lot to say. I don't know about all that. I don't know about it. This. I mean, I guess people. I don't. And again, I'm not saying he's saying. I don't think he's I think he speaks what he feels. I don't think he's a Drake Glazer. But I don't like when people do that. Like, oh, this is absolutely going to be the biggest thing that ever happened in music history. Come on, bro. Because it's the first time this ever happened. It's the biggest. This is going to be the biggest ever. Like, okay. We put that on Drake bucket list that he performed that at the halftime of the FIFA World Cup, and it was the biggest thing ever. Okay, he's still trash, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he performs there. He could perform there and perform all his old songs, but after views, all his music is not good. So he could perform there if he want. That's cool. That's great. But what is that gonna do? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to try to downplay it like that's not a big deal. It is a big deal. But at the same time, I'm looking at it from the point of view like, we don't care. The culture don't care. You can perform there all you want. The culture don't care. And again, is it you versus the culture? Is the fan saying, well, forget the culture. Drake is the biggest because he performed at the World Cup. So we don't care about the culture. Is that what you're saying? Is that what y'all saying? Y'all okay with that? Okay, cool. I'm just saying. To me, congratulations. But you still got the stain on you that you can't remove. So, thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. 12 o'clock show coming up. Happy Sunday to y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? See y'all. Peace. Bye.